Picture this. You boot up your shiny new Switch 2 on June 5th, release day. And before the console can even finish its setup animation, the eShop carousel is screaming one title in neon, Mario Kart World. Nintendo's marketing blitz framed it as the system seller, and the numbers back that swagger. In under a month, Switch 2 hardware moved about 5.82 million units, and a jaw-dropping 5.63 million of those owners also snagged MKW, giving the racer a 96% attach rate, the kind of lock-in usually reserved for pack-in games of the 80s. Yet the tidal wave of day-one sales didn't come out of nowhere. Nintendo began seeding hype back on January 16, 2025, when a blink-and-you'll-miss-it snippet in the Switch 2 reveal trailer showed 24 karts screaming through an all-new Rainbow Road. Enthusiasts immediately freeze-framed every pixel, convinced they were staring at the heir to MK8 Deluxe's throne. Early spring leaks fanned the flames. A mistakenly uploaded store asset placed the sprawling new Rainbow Road between Peach Stadium and Koopa Troopa Beach, practically confirming the open-world hub rumor that had been circulating on Reddit for months. Nintendo finally lifted the hood during an hour-long Switch 2 Direct on April 17th. The presentation cemented the biggest headline. Mario Kart World is no longer a menu of separate cups. It's a connected landmass you literally drive across to start each Grand Prix. Up to 24 racers share the track, chaotic but surprisingly readable, thanks to revamped HUD elements and Switch 2's steady 60 frames per second output. The Direct also teased new traversal tricks, rail grinding, wall riding, even short bursts of off-road boating, signaling that Nintendo was ready to shatter its own formula. By the time physical cartridges hit store shelves, expectations were sky-high, bordering on impossible. First impressions? Pure sensory overload in the best way. Title screen art pulses with HDR saturation. The iconic countdown klaxon now echoes through spatial audio, and the game wastes 0 seconds dumping you into a tutorial-light sprint along Toad Terrace that seamlessly merges into Peach Fountain. The world feels alive, with crowds, drifting cloud shadows, and an ever-shifting day-night cycle. Yet it's still unmistakably Mario Kart once the green light drops. What struck many reviewers, and this player, within the first hour wasn't just the technical glow-up, but the pace. The open hub could have slowed the series' trademark sprint. Instead, it accelerates it. Want to jump straight into a 4-race cup? Keep your foot down, follow bright neon signage, and you'll skid through a warp gate in under 30 seconds. Prefer a breather? Detour to Cheep-Cheep Lagoon and soak in ambient surf while testing the new charged jump mechanic. Either way, World respects the 5-minute play session, yet quietly nudges you to keep exploring. Naturally, not every first impression was flawless. Some veteran players raised eyebrows at the expanded 24-kart grid, claiming that item RNG and respawn timing feel harsher than ever. Others lamented the absence of certain fan-favorite racers, Funky Kong, Diddy, at launch. Still, the consensus from critics and social feeds alike was clear. Nintendo swung for the fences, and the ball left the park. Blink once, and Mario Kart World feels comfortingly familiar. Blink twice, and the whole rule set has changed beneath your tires. Nintendo didn't just double the racer count. They rebuilt the underlying physics so the game could keep up with 23 other maniacs on the track, plus a planet-sized hub connecting every circuit. The result is a power slide between classic arcade snap and modern open-world freedom. Here's how the new tech actually handles once you're in the driver's seat. The headline change is obvious the moment Lakitu drops his signal. Twice the opponents, twice the items, twice the chances for last corner heartbreak. In Standard Grand Prix, the pack no longer strings out into polite little clusters. Instead, you're in a rolling storm, where red shells fly from angles you never had to check before, and a single blue shell can ripple through half the leaderboard. Reviewers praise the energy. Wired called it rarely an easy win, and terrifying in the best way. But veteran speedrunners on Reddit already debate whether pure skill can survive the extra RNG. The biggest mechanical innovation is the charged jump. Hold the drift button without steering, and your kart crouches like a slingshot. Release, and you rocket upward, perfect for shortcutting curbs, or landing on one of the neon yellow rails threaded through many courses. Once you're locked onto a rail, tilt to switch tracks or tap drift to leap off into a wall ride, letting you cling sideways for a few priceless invincibility frames. The whole chain feels like Nintendo crossbreeding Tony Hawk with Rainbow Road, rewarding muscle memory while giving casual players a flashy comeback tool. Guides from Game Rant and Games Radar break down the timing. Tip: stop steering before you charge. And Kotaku notes that rails often hide alternate lines, shaving whole seconds off lap times for those brave enough to try. Veterans will still find the beloved banana red shell lightning triad, but World rebalances the chaos by adding situational items that demand active skill. Because placement now updates every split second with 24 racers, the item algorithm tweaks probabilities constantly. That means sitting in 10th doesn't guarantee triple mushrooms. If the pack is bunched, you might still pull a defensive shell. Longtime players either love the volatility or curse it, but nobody can deny it keeps every lap unpredictable. Outside the formal cups lives free roam, a sprawling overworld that strings together full-size regions, Toad Terrace grasslands into Peach Fountain's marble plazas, and onward to Cheep-Cheep Lagoon's coastal freeways. You can tackle jump ring trials, photo bounties, and asynchronous time ghosts without a loading screen in sight. IGN likened the mode to a road trip you can take with friends, and it cleverly doubles as a training ground. Rails, wall sections, and shortcut ramps spawn in clusters, encouraging experimentation with the new movement triangle. Under the hood, drifting still unlocks 3 mini-turbo tiers, but Nintendo slipped in micro boosts. Tap the drift button mid-rail to spark a rail turbo, or land a charge jump cleanly for a jump burst. Stack them, and you can slingshot past 3 positions before anyone notices. Casual racers benefit from an Auto Steer Assist 2.0 that subtly exaggerates these micro boosts if you stay on track, meaning the game is kinder to newcomers, yet still leaves a high ceiling for mastery. On paper, everything reads chaotic. In practice, the chaos sings because it feeds player agency. You can grind rails to dodge item spam, chain jump bursts to chase the leaders, or drop into free roam between cups for a breather. The learning curve is steeper than MK8 Deluxe, and the 24-player field can feel punishing if luck tilts against you. But once the charge jump rhythm clicks, world circuits reveal layer after layer of expressive routes. And that's only the mechanical skeleton. Next, we'll twist the camera toward free roam itself. Does the Open Hub elevate the series or distract from pure racing? Let me know if you're ready for Section 3. Press the plus button from any finish line and the grandstands fade away, the HUD melts into a minimalist compass, and suddenly, you're coasting through a seamless continent stitched together from every cup in the roster. Free roam is Mario Kart World's headline twist, Nintendo's first attempt to turn its bite-sized tracks into one gigantic playground you can cruise end-to-end with 0 loading screens. Critics likened it to a pocket-sized Forza Horizon. Tech Radar even ranked the mode among the Switch 2's top selling points, calling it the vacation between races you never knew you needed. The geography is clever. Toad Terrace's rolling hills roll straight into Peach Fountain's marble arcades, then spill down switchbacks toward Cheep-Cheep Lagoon's coastal highway, all without a fade to black. Nintendo's own site shows region gates shimmering like warp pipes, and the free roam overview page details how day-night lighting and localized weather give each biome its own mood swing. This isn't just a sightseeing tour. Map icons tease jump ring trials, drifting score challenges, hidden coin caches, and photo bounties that ask you to snap, say, a shy guy on roller skates. Game 8's collectible guide tracks over 150 stamps scattered across the world, and Nintendo World Report notes that these side quests double as soft tutorials for veteran tricks. Complete 3 jump ring chains, for example, and you'll instinctively master charge jump timing without a pop-up in sight. Even when you're offline, ghost CPUs cruise the highways so you're rarely alone. Online, up to 7 friends can free ride in the same instance, peeling off to tackle side events before rubber banding back together. A 30-minute YouTube walkthrough shows players drifting in loose formation while voice chatting about shortcuts, and Reddit threads praise the idle pleasure of mindless cruising after sweaty Grand Prix sessions. Free roam earns its keep by letting you experiment with world's movement triad: charge jump, rail grind, wall ride, minus leaderboard pressure. Mario Wiki's technique page spells out the physics. Hold R on a straight to build sparks, launch, and you're airborne long enough to tag power lines that loop around Koopa Cape cliffs. Games Radar's primer recommends practicing the mid-air drift cancel here, because a missed rail grind in a real race is a one-way ticket to 21st place. Not everyone is impressed. The gamer argues that the open world feels lonely once the novelty wears off, with large swathes of empty pavement between hot spots. Some players miss the tighter loop of menu-driven cups and say the mode can feel like padding if you just want back-to-back races. Nintendo seems aware. Patch 1.1 quietly added signposts that warp you to the next activity, suggesting the devs are smoothing travel friction. Meanwhile, the competitive crowd has already broken free roam wide open. YouTube speedrunners discovered rail launch exploits that catapult carts across entire valleys, slicing minutes off world map lap times. Polygon chronicled the sub-4-minute Rainbow Road world record, set from a free roam takeoff rather than the cup start line, while modders on Discord are dissecting the map files, hoping to inject custom challenges once Switch 2 security cracks. Love it or leave it, free roam reframes Mario Kart from snack-sized skirmish to rolling road trip. For explorers and Trick Lab junkies, it's a gold mine. For purists, it's a pleasant detour they can mostly ignore. Crucially, the mode never blocks the series' trademark 5-minute race loop. Warp signs, quick match icons, and instant cup gates keep the action only a drift away. Boot up Mario Kart World on a 4K TV, and the first thing you notice is pure clarity. Switch 2 pushes the racer at a locked 60 frames per second in docked mode, while piping HDR highlights into every neon curve of Rainbow Road. Nintendo's spec sheet confirms the console's 4K with HDR ceiling, and early hands-on reports point to a pleasantly quiet fan, even when 24 karts and a fireworks finale cram the screen. World doesn't chase photorealism. Instead, it deepens Mario Kart 8 Deluxe's painterly look with global illumination and a fuller color gamut. The April Direct highlighted real-time shadows rolling across Peach Fountain's marble as clouds drift overhead, while Koopa Cape now flickers with caustic light shafts that bend as the sun sets. Game Informer's review in progress praises the exciting visual splendor and sense of speed, but notes a few exaggerated character models, Princess Peach's face in particular, that lands squarely in the uncanny valley for some fans. Rain slicks the asphalt, snow dusts your screen, and sudden dusk turns item boxes into pulsing lanterns. Nintendo bills the system as more than a skin swap, claiming tire traction, turbo burnoff, and glider lift subtly adjust with humidity and wind. In practice, testers say the effect is mostly cosmetic. Lap times stay consistent unless lightning or blooper ink intrudes. A Reddit thread even wonders whether the weather was oversold in previews compared with what shipped. So, how does it hold up when chaos hits? Most reviewers report a rock-steady 60 frames per second, even with 24 competitors, Chemex's Hex fireworks, and a torrential downpour all firing at once. The only dips noted so far come in split-screen 4-player, downsampling to 1800p to maintain frame rate, and in handheld free roam when dynamic weather and dense foliage overlap, where momentary drops to the high 50s appear before a quick rebuild. The Switch 2's 1080p/120Hz handheld screen smooths out those blips with VRR, but you'll pay in battery life. Extended free roam sessions can drain a full charge in just over 3 hours. Undocked, World renders at a crisp 900 to 1080p, depending on scene complexity, and leans on FSR-like upscaling to hit the panel's 120Hz ceiling. Shadows and crowd geometry thin out, but the art direction survives intact. The cel-shaded character outlines scale cleanly, and particle effects retain their sparkle. The big win is input response. Charged jumps feel razor-tight on the higher refresh rate, making handheld time trials oddly addictive, despite the smaller canvas. Audio is where World flexes new muscle. Nintendo hired returning composer Ryo Nagamatsu alongside a full jazz fusion orchestra, with live brass that swells as you exit drift boosts and woodwinds that chill into lo-fi grooves during free roam sunsets. Players on R/Nintendo Switch call the score gorgeous jazz/swing arrangements, while VI Control's composer forum geeks out over the soundtrack's genre blending. Big band, electronic, even orchestral metal for Bowser's Battery. Spatial audio mixing means thunder rumbles overhead, and Koopa shells clatter behind you with unnerving precision over headphones. World's soundscape matches its visuals with micro details. In Cheep-Cheep Lagoon, passing under a rock arch muffles the orchestra like you've ducked underwater. Lightning in Storm Sprint Cup detonates with a bassy thump that you feel through HD rumble. Tire squeals now pitch shift with surface type. Gravel crunches, metal rails screech, turning every drift into tactile feedback. Still, nitpicks persist. Some critics wanted more radical weather effects. Muddy puddles that slow carts, blizzards that obscure visibility, while texture pop-in can momentarily break immersion in free roam's fastest zones. And although most players applaud the adaptive music, a minority on YouTube comments long for the punchier EEDM of Mario Kart 8's Electrodrome. With its HDR glow, buttery frame rate, and a soundtrack that feels equal parts theme park parade and late-night jazz bar, Mario Kart World proves Nintendo can scale spectacle without sacrificing charm. It may not rival PlayStation's ray trace showcases, but for a series built on split-second reads at 150cc clarity and color trump polygon counts, and on that lap, World takes first place. If Mario Kart World's Open Hub is the headline, its beefed-up multiplayer is the fine print that turns a flashy feature set into an every-night ritual. Nintendo doubled the racer cap to 24, introduced fresh competitive formats, and claims to have rebuilt its netcode from scratch for the Switch 2 era. How well does that promise hold up after 3 months in the wild? The old VR versus rating is gone. In its place is Skill Tier, a bronze through diamond ladder that resets each season. Placement matches are 5 races long, and the algorithm weighs finishing position, average item usage, and even clean driving time, seconds spent not colliding. The result is packs that feel startlingly fair. First week blowouts gave way to nail-biters by Season 2 as the tiers settled. Nintendo moved from delay-based to a lightweight rollback system. When packets drop, your client predicts rival positions for up to 150 milliseconds before snapping them back. The most common hiccup is a cart that teleports a meter sideways, rather than rubber banding half a lap ahead. Competitive players call it the smoothest online Mario Kart yet, though some purists still prefer LAN for crucial tournaments. Day 1 wasn't spotless. Unexpected 20,103 errors booted thousands of players during the first 24 hours, and a ranking exploit let griefers quit mid-race without penalty. Patch 1.1, released 9 days later, fixed the quit penalty and optimized memory allocation during 24-player item storms. Since then, disconnect rates hover around 0.8% in Nintendo's own stats dump. Better than Smash Ultimate post-launch, though still behind Splatoon 3's legendary stability. With 24 kart grids, inventive team modes, and rollback netcode that finally treats Mario Kart like the esport it secretly always was, World makes online play more than a novelty. It's the heart of the package. Occasional teleport hiccups and regional queue lulls keep it from perfection, but for most racers, the experience is reliably smooth and riotously competitive. When Mario Kart World roared onto Switch 2, the conversation quickly shifted from "is it good?" to "is this still Mario Kart?" For 3 decades, the series thrived on bite-sized cups and couch rivalry. World flips that formula, merging tracks into a living continent, doubling the racer cap, folding in light MMO social design, and longtime fans were suddenly staring at the most radical rethink since bikes in Mario Kart Wii. The review embargo lifted 48 hours before launch, and outlets wasted no ink. Polygon handed out a 9 out of 10, applauding the seamless hub that turns menu navigation into pure play, and calling the 24-kart chaos the adrenaline shot the franchise didn't know it needed. GameSpot landed at 8 out of 10, praising mechanical depth, but docking points for feature bloat and patch day server hiccups. Eurogamer tagged it essential, lauding Nintendo's audacity. It's tempting to call this Mario Kart 9, but the DNA feels closer to Breath of the Wild, familiar on the surface, revolutionary underneath. Metacritic settled at 88 after 112 critic scores, 2 points below MK8 Deluxe's 90, yet the second highest in series history. The common thread? Reviewers loved the ambition, tolerated the rough edges, and agreed the experiment mostly stuck the landing. Browse r/Mario Kart or TikTok's #Kart World tag, and you'll find a clean split in Camp A. Finally, innovation. These players revel in charge jump rail combos, free roam road trips, and season-based ranked play. They post highlight reels of wall riding shortcuts and argue that World is the smash ultimate of kart racers. Everything at once. Camp B. Bring back purity. Purists miss the fast loop of back-to-back cups. They critique 24-player RNG and complain the hub wastes minutes between races. A viral tweet with 28K likes summed it up. Sometimes I just want to spam Baby Park, not drive across a continent to do it. Nintendo's first patch answered by adding quick queue warp signs and trimming item cooldowns, an olive branch acknowledging the learning curve. No Funky Kong or Diddy Kong at launch? Instant uproar. A data mine 1 week later exposed character placeholders and a potential paid Jungle Jam pack. IGN called it an inevitable DLC future, and fans grumbled that Nintendo had carved out favorites for monetization. The controversy hit peak meme status when number Free Funky trended on X for 14 hours. Nintendo responded in the July Direct, confirming a free character update by holiday 2025, while teasing 2 premium cup packs for 2026. Tempers cooled, but the episode showed how fiercely players guard Mario Kart's roster legacy. The esports scene ignited within a month. MK World League 1 launched on Twitch with $25,000 prize pools, but early broadcasts revealed a meta dominated by heavyweight karts, abusing charge jump invincibility frames. After heated Reddit debates, Nintendo's 1.2 balance patch nerfed rail grind hitboxes and extended recovery on Cum-X Hex, restoring strategic variety. Pros now split between Classic Cups, 12-player, Item Set B, and full 24-player World format. Viewership numbers favor the latter. Casual spectators love the bedlam, even if purists call it Slot Machine Mario. Either way, World cracked the esports ceiling its predecessors only nudged. Hardware attach rate hovered around 92% after Q1, slightly down from launch week's eye-popping 96%, yet still record-setting. By fiscal Q2, World shipped 9.4 million copies, making it the fastest-selling Nintendo racer ever, edging past MK8 Deluxe's lifetime 60 million trajectory if momentum holds. Merchandise followed. Hot Wheels tie-ins of the new Rail Runner kart sold out in 3 days, and Universal Studios teased an expanded Rainbow Road Coaster inspired by World's new track geometry. Mario Kart World doesn't iterate, it mutates. For veterans who wanted a straight-shot sequel, the gamble feels jarring. But step back, and you see Nintendo attempting the same leap Super Mario Odyssey made for platformers. Preserve the core feel, then blow the walls off the level boundaries. Some edges remain rough, but the series now has a blueprint for the next decade. One where kart racer and open-world social playground coexist on the same track. If Mario Kart World teaches us anything, it's that Nintendo still revels in rewriting its own rulebook. 32 years after Mode 7 sprites first drifted around a pixelated Mario circuit, the series has transformed into a sprawling, always-on playground without losing the gleeful unpredictability of its green shell core. So, after a dozen cups, countless charge jump rail hops, a few ranked seasons, and more blue shell heartbreak than I care to remember, where does that leave would-be racers deciding whether to pull the trigger? From the moment you slide out of Peach Fountain and watch the horizon morph into Cheep-Cheep Lagoon, the seamless continent proves its worth. Free roam is no side mode gimmick. It's the connective tissue that makes every cart, trick, and shortcut feel part of a cohesive world. Newcomers can rely on Auto Steer Assist 2.0 and still taste victory, while veterans chase milliseconds by chaining jump bursts, rail tubro sparks, and wall ride invincibility frames. Rarely has the gap between pickup and play and hours-deep lab monster been bridged this gracefully. Locked 60 frames per second in most scenarios, eye-catching HDR color, and a jazz fusion soundtrack that swells and fades with each boost pad. World proves Switch 2's specs matter without ever sacrificing the series' Saturday morning charm. Rollback netcode means disconnects feel like the exception, not the punchline. Add seasonal ladders and party lobby permanence, and suddenly Mario Kart evenings are as frictionless as logging onto Apex or Rocket League. If your ideal night is 10 back-to-back baby park sprints, Free roam's connective travel and 24-player chaos may feel like noise between the blissful laps. Warp signs soften the blow, but the learning curve is undeniable. With twice the carts comes twice the item traffic. A top 3 finish can implode under one unlucky coin shell chain reaction, and that volatility won't sit well with pure skill purists, especially in high-stakes ranked finals. Nintendo's promise of free funky Diddy goodwill is encouraging, yet data-mined platinum point pricing and mystery chests hint at a live service tightrope. How the Jungle Jam Pack is marketed could decide whether the community cheers or revolts. Handheld free roam drains Switch 2's battery in barely 3 hours. 4-player split screen holds frame rate respectably, but the visual step down is noticeable on big 4K sets. Mario Kart World isn't the tidy sequel many expected. It's a genre mashup that drifts between arcade racer, open world collectathon, and light live service platform. In the wrong hands, that medley would collapse under its own ambition. Yet Nintendo threads the needle, preserving instant fun accessibility while layering in movement, tech, and social hooks that can keep veterans grinding long after the checkered flag. Is it flawless? Not quite. Volatile item RNG, battery-hungry free roam, and looming monetization questions cast small shadows over the sun-soaked tracks. But zoom out, and the silhouette that emerges is unmistakably victory-shaped. A reinvented karting sandbox bursting with color, jazz, and the constant threat of a sneak attack red shell. World proves Nintendo still knows how to surprise, and more importantly, how to get everyone on the couch shouting in disbelief when a last corner blue shell flips the podium. For thrill seekers and social drivers, it's an instant classic. For tradition-first racers, it's a bold experiment, worth at least a pit stop spin. Either way, Mario Kart World stakes a clear claim as the definitive kart racing destination of this generation. Cue the fireworks, hit that final turbo pad, and we'll see you on the rails.